Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Cheek, and I'm thrilled to share several exciting things the Centennial Committee has been working on recently and over the past couple of years. I'm here with my co-chair, Margot Goodwin, and we have a big announcement for you. The Junior League of Dallas began in 1922 with a group of 40 women determined to make a difference in our community. Together, they tackled issues on the front lines and improved the lives of women and children across the city. During 2021-2022, we will celebrate 100 years of growing women leaders who address Dallas's most critical needs.
The Centennial Committee, hello. The Centennial Committee started working in 2016 to not only celebrate our tremendous milestone, but to also give back a little bit more to the city of Dallas. In 2018, we established the Centennial Endowment Foundation to support the League's Volunteer Training and Support Services Fund. Former President Lyda Hill generously gave a gift of $5 million with an additional $5 million in a matching grant, and our committee continues to work with donors to match her generosity. This endowment ensures that our league will continue to develop Dallas's future leaders for many generations to come. In 2017, to honor our history, we created the Legacy Leaders Program to recognize women who have been league members for 50 years or more. And each year, we celebrate these women at the Milestone Luncheon with a lovely Legacy Leader pin. Pardon me. Also, in honoring our history, the Centennial Committee is working to properly preserve and organize our archives. We look forward to sharing more of our League's wonderful history with all of you in the coming years.
As part of our celebration, we want to give back to the city we love so much, benefiting generations for the next 100 years. For the past 4 years, our committee has researched a variety of worthy causes to be our Centennial Project, looking for something that would inspire all Dallasites. 2 years ago, we narrowed it to one project, and I've been working since then to put everything in place to finally announce it now. For our Centennial Project, we are pleased to donate critical funds and support to the restoration of the Juanita J. Craft Civil Rights House and Museum. We will join organizations and community leaders across Dallas in making it a place for all Dallasites to learn about its place in our city's history and the efforts to win civil rights for African Americans. To tell you more about Mrs. Craft and her home, I would like to introduce you to Sarah Jackson, our Centennial Project Chair.
Thank you, Andrea. Many of you may know about Juanita Craft, and that is part of the reason we wanted to be part of this very important effort. Juanita Craft devoted her life to equal rights, believing that all people should be able to fully participate in American society. From 1950 until her death in 1985, her home in South Dallas, near the Fair Park neighborhood, served as command central for many of the pivotal moments in the civil rights movement in Dallas and beyond. During this time, she established a vast network across Texas to promote equal rights for all Americans, organizing 182 branches of the NAACP and championing integration of the Texas State Fair in 1961. Working through the NAACP's Texas State Conference of Branches, Mrs. Craft fought for the rights of African Americans to serve on a jury, vote in the Democratic primaries, and receive an education from professional and collegiate schools. She served on the board of the Urban League of Greater Dallas. She was the first African-American woman in Dallas County to vote and the first African-American woman to serve on the Dallas City Council. Over the years, the Craft home became a central hub for the community, a place to get engaged in community discussions. It was also a place for school children to safely do their homework. Craft taught them about civil rights issues, believing they would shape the future of civil rights struggle. It was a meeting space for the NAACP Youth Council, voter registration drives, women's voting league meetings, and campaign headquarters for many races, including her own 2 city council races in 1975 and 1977. Mrs. Craft often used her home to host out-of-town visitors too. During the Jim Crow era, musical artists, including Marian Anderson, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington, stayed with her because hotels were impossible to find for African Americans because many hotels prohibited Black guests. Upon her death in 1985, Juanita Craft willed her home to the city of Dallas to be used to advance her mission to improve civil and human rights through education, advocacy, government, and civil discourse. As Andrea mentioned, we've worked over the past 2 years to support the restoration of the Juanita Craft Civil Rights Home and Museum. In this effort, we're thrilled to have Jennifer Scripps, Director of the Office of Cultural Affairs and a JLD Sustainer, as our partner, helping us fulfill the vision of this very important project. Jennifer, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and it is wonderful to be with everyone here tonight. If you were like I was prior to interviewing for my job at the city in 2016, I had never heard of the Craft House or Mrs. Juanita Craft. I still find it shocking that I was not aware of this major leader in our fight for civil rights in Texas and all across the state, in Dallas and across the state, and her home as it was really a command central. Women across the country, like Ms. Craft, were often the unsung heroes for the civil rights movement. And the more I learn, the more I recognize what a hero, in some ways much too unsung, Mrs. Craft has been, and what a tremendous impact she made in Dallas and our state for more than 30 years. In addition to the honors that Sarah just mentioned, Mrs. Craft helped integrate several Texas universities, and she opened her home to welcome a whole generation of young people in South Dallas who became known and still call themselves the Craft Kids. Many of these individuals grew up and into leadership roles in Dallas. Ms. Craft was honored with the Linz Award, Dallas's most prestigious award for civic leadership, in 1969. She was particularly lauded at that time for her campaign to dismantle fraudulent trade schools that preyed on Black men and women. And beyond the achievements of Mrs. Craft herself, this house is a significant landmark for several reasons. It sits in a South Dallas neighborhood on Warren Avenue. At the time, this street was the dividing line during integration of the South Dallas neighborhood, and it withstood bombings due to the coming integration. It also played host to many dignitaries, including Jimmy Carter and First Lady Rosalind Carter, who visited in addition to the celebrities that Sarah just mentioned. In 2000, it was formally acknowledged as a Dallas historic landmark and has been for the last 20 years. As Sarah mentioned, since Mrs. Craft's death, this house has been owned and operated by the city. Unfortunately, since that time, the 1930s Craftsman Bungalow has had a few setbacks and a rocky history. We've had several rounds of repairs, but limited real investment. And there was a catastrophic flood on Memorial Day of 2018, resulting in damage throughout this small house. It didn't take much flooding to do tremendous damage. A small group of community leaders have worked to complete the first ever historic structures report, which is an important assessment on any historical property or landmark. It shows its historic significance and suggests operational plans for how best to ensure a sustainable and ongoing activation of the space that can be enjoyed for years to come. This effort culminated in a tremendous $500,000 grant from the National Park Service to help us improve our management and interpretation of the house. With this gift and the partnership of individuals and organizations, the City of Dallas is taking steps to properly restore the home. And we are thrilled and so thankful that the Junior League of Dallas is joining this important effort to bring this Dallas landmark back to life. Sarah Jackson, the Centennial Project Chair, and Renita Smith, Executive Sponsor for Diversity and Inclusion, are serving on the Friends of the Juanita Craft Board of Directors, alongside many other community representatives. In her will, Juanita Craft asked that the house be preserved to represent and carry on her belief in the ability of individuals to make a difference and to appreciate the importance of service to community and nation. What happened inside this home helped change the course of history and influence many lives. It is our hope that the restored home will be a place for people of all colors to appreciate the power of the individual, to transform lives, and to fully recognize the values of service, both locally and nationally, through hard work and compassion. And I think I turn it back over to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Jennifer. I hope everyone is as excited to hear about this project as we are to share it with you. It has been quite literally, as Andrea, I think, mentioned, several years in the making. And so we're very excited to share with you the project.